My name is Jan, and welcome to Cinemind. My fascination with dinosaurs has been there for as long as I can remember. The idea that these massive prehistoric creatures once roamed the earth has always felt almost unreal to me. So, when my dad showed me Jurassic Park at 14, I was completely blown away. Recently, I watched Jurassic World Rebirth, bigger scale, modern effects, a capable director in Gareth Edwards. Yet, walking out of it, I didn't feel that same tightness, that same sense that everything was building towards something. And that's when it clicked for me. Jurassic Park isn't just good because it's thrilling. It's good because it's balanced and intentional. When I say balance, I mean that elements are fine-tuned together to make the movie and all of its elements flow. Music doesn't always overpower scenes. The score is incredible, but in the right moments to build tension, it takes a back seat. The camera doesn't just show scale, it shows us how close danger is. It telegraphs the action very clearly. The tension in the movie isn't constant. It comes in waves that make every tense moment feel all the more real. And concerning humor, Ian Malcolm, for example, brings so many good jokes to the movie that lighten up exposition.
That is one big pile of shit.
Philosophy isn't buried. It's debated, with even a whole dinner scene functioning as a debate on the morality of science. Visual effects don't feel fake or cheap. They feel grounded and flow well with practical effects. Characters don't feel like placeholders. They feel intentional and all very distinct. On top of Ian Malcolm's unique charm, we have Ellie Sattler as the emancipatory scientist who fights for respect, and, of course, Dr. Grant, who charms us with his eccentricity and his initial dislike of children. All of these elements move together. That's orchestration. And that's what makes Jurassic Park feel cohesive decades later. When we now look at Rebirth, it has a lot of the same ingredients. The cinematography is polished. The dinosaurs are detailed. The set pieces are ambitious. Gareth Edwards clearly knows how to frame an image. But the elements often operate at full blast for the whole movie. The score frequently tells you how to feel before the scene earns it. Action escalates quickly, sometimes before you're fully attached to the people involved. It feels like you're into the 10th dinosaur attack before you even know any of their names. Philosophical ideas are hinted at. Humans intruding into nature, corporate ambition, but they rarely anchor the narrative in a sustained way. Attempts at humor exist, but they are first of all painfully unfunny and don't deepen a character in the same way as the chaos theory scene in Jurassic Park, for example. The result isn't just a bad movie, it's a badly balanced movie. And you can see that imbalance most clearly when you compare specific scenes. One of the clearest differences between the two films appears in how they handle exposition. In Jurassic Park, the Mr. DNA sequence has a very straightforward task. Explain how dinosaurs were brought back to life. Instead of delivering that information through dry scientific dialogue, the film frames it as part of the park tour. The characters sit down and watch an educational animation. Something that naturally fits into a theme park built around spectacle and science. The Mr. DNA cartoon walks us through the process step by step. Dinosaurs were cloned using mosquito blood, preserved in amber, and gaps in the DNA were filled with frog DNA. The explanation is clear, visually engaging, and easy to remember. But what makes it effective isn't just clarity. It's how the film integrates the information into the rest of the plot. Immediately afterwards, we witness a dinosaur birth in the lab. Then, we are reassured that all dinosaurs are female, a containment measure designed to prevent breeding. At the time, Ian Malcolm already has his doubts, saying the famous line,
Life, finds a way.
And that turns out to be true. As we know, the Jurassic Park dinosaurs are genetically similar to frogs, and it turns out frog species can change sex. That detail, introduced casually during the exposition, becomes the mechanism that allows the dinosaurs to reproduce and the park to collapse. So, the sequence does more than explain the science. It establishes the rules of the world, plans a crucial future payoff, reinforces the theme of human control versus natural unpredictability, and connects directly to the central conflict. The exposition doesn't sit on the surface of the story. It feeds the plot. Now, compare that to the boat briefing scene in Jurassic World Rebirth. This scene also has a clear purpose. It explains why the team is on the island, how they plan to extract genetic samples and what the risks are. Rupert Friend's cold businessman character and the scientist played by Jonathan Bailey outline how the dinosaurs are surviving and how the mission will proceed. There's even a brief moral conflict because one of the hired guns says that he will defend his life by killing dinosaurs if need be. The scientist answers that if they have to kill dinosaurs to survive there, then humans may not belong in this environment. But that idea isn't developed into a sustained ideological conflict, nor does it clearly hint at future events. It's mostly just kind of confusing, because the scientist who is going to have the role of the guide through the exotic dinosaur island is naively baffled by the fact that they have to defend their lives in dangerous dinosaur territory, which is a no-brainer if you think about it. In one film, exposition becomes part of the story's foundation and drives the consequences that follow. In the other, exposition is just part of the checklist that the writers had to tick off without making it in any way as rich as the original, and even making you more confused after the scene. And that difference becomes even more noticeable in the action. Let's do the same breakdown with one action scene of each movie. First, the T-Rex breakout at night in Jurassic Park. The scene starts with the power going out. The fence is no longer electrified. The danger begins before the dinosaur is even visible. We cut to the kids sitting in the car in the rain. Unlike big portions of the movie, there's no dramatic John Williams score playing. You mostly hear rain and ambient sounds. That contrast raises the tension immediately. Then there's a slow rumbling sound. It happens once, then again. The kids notice it. They look at the cup of water, and the surface of the water cup starts to vibrate. At this point, we still haven't seen the T-Rex. Next, they realize that the goat that was tied to a stake in the T-Rex cage is now gone. A moment later, a goat leg falls onto the roof of the car. The threat moves from distant to immediate. Then we see a claw scrape across the electric fence sign. That confirms the T-Rex is out. Only after almost 3 minutes do we clearly see the T-Rex rise above the trees and walk out onto the road, making a terrifying roar. Only after one of the kids uses a flashlight does the T-Rex notice them. This scene builds step by step. It withholds the full image for as long as possible, and the tension increases gradually. When the action starts, it's a direct consequence of the character's actions. And while the film does use CG for the scene where the T-Rex steps out of the cage, mixing this with practical effects made the CG feel grounded. Now compare that to the beginning of the T-Rex boat chase in Jurassic World Rebirth. We see our protagonists, the family that has also washed up on the dinosaur island, looking for a boat. They see a small docking bay on the other side of a lake, and one of the daughters, Teresa, decides to cross the lake. Ominous music is already playing as the daughter reaches the shore. The scene begins in a state of tension. She finds a fresh carcass. That signals danger immediately. A smaller dinosaur reacts to her, but then runs off because it senses something. There's movement in the grass right behind Theresa. And we see our first shot of the T-Rex. Within about 1 minute and 20 seconds, the T-Rex is revealed. The dinosaur appears much earlier, and there are fewer escalation steps before we see it clearly. What's especially noticeable is what happens next. The characters start running before the T-Rex has actually noticed them. But the music swells as if the chase has already begun. The score signals a climax before the dinosaur has even noticed them. So the emotional peak arrives early, before the narrative cause. In Jurassic Park, the T-Rex attack feels like the direct result of everything that built up before it. In Rebirth, the tension spike is triggered by the music deciding, oh, it's time for an action scene, rather than by the dinosaur's decision to chase them. On top of that, while the CG does look good, there are no practical effects that make the T-Rex grounded in the character's reality. That lack of mixing and the tonal shift make the scene feel more staged, like a theme park ride. This is the heart of it. In Jurassic Park, spectacle grows out of a careful balance of building tension, of every element working in tandem. The film establishes rules, builds tension within those rules, and lets the consequences unfold. In Rebirth, spectacle often leads. Escalation comes quickly and too often. I counted 8 big dinosaur attacks. Compare that to Jurassic Park, where you only have around 4. The tension in Rebirth isn't being built carefully. That's why this movie feels kind of like a Transformers movie with dinosaurs, where spectacle is also more important than story or tension. This doesn't make Rebirth unwatchable, but it does make it less cohesive and kind of exhausting if I'm honest. A great blockbuster doesn't just throw everything at you at once. It conducts its elements carefully. And that's why Jurassic Park still feels dangerous and alive. Not because I have nostalgia for it, but because it's very well balanced. When I was 14, the T-Rex didn't terrify me just because it was big. It terrified me because the film had earned that moment. Every choice, the silence, the pacing, the withheld reveal, led there. Spectacle is easy. Escalation is easy. Restraint, however, is not. Jurassic Park understands when not to show the monster, when not to swell the score, when to let tension build instead of forcing it. That discipline is what makes the danger feel real. And that is why, decades later, Jurassic Park still feels alive. And also why we will forget Jurassic World Rebirth very quickly once the next blockbuster rolls around.